Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Proving Grounds Week 4, Day 5, brought to you by Verizon. This is the final day here in the quarterfinals for the lower bracket. We have 100 Thieves taking on 100 Thieves Academy, and I am your host. I am Kangas, and I'm joined by, of course, Cubby and Magical, and special guest, Jungler from Dignitas Academy, XU. Lawrence, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's awesome to have players coming onto the desk. We can get your thoughts on some of the gameplay as well as some of these players you've been competing against. Magical Cubby, we didn't tell him the dress code for the day. Shame on us.
Hey, you know what? It's gear, right? You're always good to go when you have merch on, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, I don't have a short sleeve anyway. I had to roll them up. I'm cheating.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? Magical's got this like cool pattern on his too. I don't even
tacos on it.
That's good. Did you wear that for any of the Taco gaming broadcasts?
No.
Can't believe you.
Missed opportunity.
Can't believe you.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have some fun
because
here.
I wasn't on those broadcasts.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so it was Kelsey that inted by not putting you scheduled for them. There we go. We're going to have some fun today, of course, on the broadcast. But before we get into the show itself, we want to catch everybody up on a conversation that we've been having behind the scenes as broadcast talent and the crew here at Academy level for the Most Valuable Prospect Award that we've been paying attention to throughout the split. Now, we're getting close to announcing the winner, but we actually first wanted to introduce the runner-up today before we announce the winner next week. So let's take a look.
Another honorable mention for the Academy 2022 Spring Split Most Valuable Prospect Award is the mid laner for Cloud9 Academy, Copy. Copy has been a standout all season long. He has been a rock for his team. You want pop-offs? You got it. You want team fights? You got it. He will separate you from your team just as he separates you from your life, all while being able to break your ankles. If you want a stellar standout, well, don't just take it from me.
I just want to be more of that player in the spotlight and being able to take resources and carry a game instead of being like sort of the backline player. I just want fans to know that they can count on me carrying our game for C9.
Congratulations to Copy for taking runner-up. And sorry, XU, we didn't mean to show so many Dignitas plays during
No, we
that.
totally did.
I promise it wasn't intentional.
This is planned. Don't listen
Clearly
to them.
planned.
Don't listen to them.
Clearly planned. But of course, XU, you had the opportunity to play against Copy. So from player to player, I just want to get your thoughts on him. What was it like to play against this mid laner?
I think Copy's like a really stable player. I think he's one of the laners in Academy who like will always play solid. Like he'll never really have bad games. He won't pop off every game, but he'll always be a threat at the end of the game. So
Consistency, and also consistency at a high level. That's what we expect from Copy, as well as our Most Valuable Prospect Award. So that's Copy. We'll be announcing the winner next week on Wednesday at the start of the show. But for today, let's bring our attention now to the path to get to this moment, everybody, because it's been a long proving ground so far. This is week 4, day 5. I can't believe that we're already at the end of the week here on this very hot Friday, if you are local in the Los Angeles area. A reminder, the Team Liquid Academy are still waiting at the top of the bracket. The grand finals, Team Liquid Academy have locked their ticket into there, but as we bring our attention to the lower bracket, Cubby, I want to give this one to you first, because again, we did have a couple of swan songs here. FlyQuest Academy dropping their series to Immortals yesterday. Very close, but Immortals did come out on top.
That was a fun one. I know that FlyQuest, it was a team that we were really praising for all their improvement throughout the split, throughout this tournament. Improvement that nearly netted them a top 4 finish with 3 rookies. Instead, it's Immortals doing it with a couple themselves in the top side. So massive props to them. I know that they didn't. They've had a couple series that have been really good. Their win against CLG, a couple series where, I think that series against GGA, neither team really played their best, but it was good to see Immortals level up some of their breaks and make top 4.
And of course, that means Immortals will be facing the winner of today's matches. XU, since I got you on the desk, I want to hear your thoughts from the Immortals versus FlyQuest series. Did that happen how you expected it to? Do you think Immortals would take the series, or were you favoring FlyQuest?
I mean, I honestly thought FlyQuest was the better team going into it. So it was really hurtful for us to lose the series prior, because we knew that if we had won, we would have beat Immortals pretty confidently. But to see Immortals actually beat FlyQuest kind of made us a little more comfortable, because it's like, okay, Well, we lost to Fly, and Immortals beat FlyQuest, so we wouldn't have made it anyways.
Yeah.
I do want to chime in really quick. Immortals Academy were my original dark horse at the very beginning, back when
Wow.
Rafa did that like
Okay.
March Madness thing for a lot of us casters. I
Casual
actually,
Sure.
mad magical flex.
you know, the big brain over here, just being like, yeah, you know, I thought FlyQuest actually had really leveled up, so I thought it was going to be a 5-game series, which I hope is going to happen today as well. But
Mhm.
big brain magical comes through once more.
It's a worse feeling when a man in a taco T-shirt has a better prediction than you do at the start of a
Just,
split.
you know, it just is what it is, Steve. You just got to get better.
You know what?
Yeah.
He's been hitting the lab. What else can we say?
He's been hitting the lab, and you know where he's been hitting the lab? Actually, a lot of the bits that we've been doing have been in live studios, and surprise, surprise, everybody, we actually have a fun announcement that we want to give, because next week, starting from the lower bracket semifinals, and then the lower bracket finals and grand finals live from the LCS studios, Proving Grounds powered by Verizon, will have a live stage. We'll have players at the venue, as well as all of us as talent there at the LCS desk. I cannot wait for this personally. Magical Cubby, I know that we've been being teased about this the whole season, like maybe it's going to happen, maybe not. We'll see if we can make it work, but we're going to be there. We're going to be live.
I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. I know it's a big deal, you know, for us as a broadcast, but especially, you know, for the players, talking with them.
Yes.
This best of 5 today decides whether or not you're going to be on stage. And Axio is someone who has competed on that stage, even in the LCS lock-in tournament. I mean, you have a firsthand experience of what it feels like to be there. I know it's something a lot of these players crave, and something that you've been a part of as well.
I've actually
Yeah.
never been on that stage.
Oh,
That's right.
That's why
Lock-in wasn't-
it was a big deal to miss out this time, but it's okay.
Lock-in was still remote.
We'll
We'll
get you
on there soon.
opportunities to
Yeah.
get up there more often. Don't worry. But with that said, if that surprises you, it's probably because you're not following a certain Twitter account. Also, if you didn't know the schedule today, probably because you're not following a certain Twitter account. Path to LCS, make sure that you hop on Twitter and follow that one, because it gives you all the updates on schedule, on announcements like that big graphic that we just had right there, as well as every news around amateur and academy level. If it's Path to LCS, it's going to be on this Twitter account. So make sure that you're following that if you want to keep up with all the news in the scene. But with that said, now we can bring our attention to the match that is ahead of us, because Cloud9 Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy, not necessarily where we expected these teams to face off against each other here in the lower bracket. Magical, I want to get your initial thoughts on this series going into it.
I am just excited, honestly, because you have 100 Thieves Academy, the reigning champions as an organization, plus Gomsu in the top lane, part of that winning roster from the summer
Can be
2021.
technically. I know he wasn't playing, but he was
didn't play.
technically on
That's
the
the only
roster.
reason why I'm not giving it to him, because he
All
didn't
right.
get to play that time. He went with the team to prep for Worlds. But still, there's a lot riding on this for 100 Thieves as well. If they make it through this series, that means that we have all 3 available team players that were a part of last year's 100 Thieves organization that won in Proving Grounds outside of Luger and Puma, who are in the LCS, in the top 4. That's what would be so insane.
That's what happens if 100 Thieves Academy win right here. X, I want to get your thoughts as a player who's played against this team in the past. When you look at this roster and based on the experience you had against them, who's their big threat? Who's kind of the firepower that they're packing?
I mean, with this 100 Thieves roster, it's definitely Kenvi. Like, he's the most experienced player. I think going into the Academy season, everyone was pretty confident that he would be the best jungler in Academy. I think earlier in the season, he didn't have the best showing, but towards the later half, and like, especially in Proving Grounds, he's been playing pretty well. So he's definitely someone to look out for.
He has improved over time. And opposite the Rift, Cubby, we have Cloud9 Academy, a team that had a roaring end to their spring split. A lot of roster changes throughout the season, and also a roster change coming into today.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked Twitter yet today, Cloud9 announced it in a video and then a separate tweet below that Isles will be starting for them against Golden Guardians in the best of 5 stage on LCS, which means that Winsome is now playing in Proving Grounds. I think it's another example where, you know, C9 system, they definitely were really pushing to have a lot of internals, make sure they are starting their best roster for LCS and that their LCS roster is prepped. I guess this is just an example of them utilizing that system, even though it's really late in the season. I know from talking with Copy as well, you know, he did say that some of the internals, it has helped incorporate Winsome just because they are familiar with him, but it still is really tough to match the synergy that King and Isles have had because they've been playing together since 2020.
Again, if you want to get more information of the reason behind Cloud9's decision here, their internal reason, they actually did put out a YouTube video, so you can check that out on their YouTube channel as well as their Twitter account. And, so,
you know, we had to throw in one CS meme, right? That's
oh no,
we had to do one.
-2.8.
Yeah, so Isles did have a higher CS D at 14 throughout the season. So you know, this is his stats at Academy versus Winsome and LCS. Maybe that's the reason. Who knows? Probably not. But you know, it's all right. I can tell how disappointed Mad Magical is.
Yeah, Mad Magical. He's taking this one personally. Yeah.
No, it's more just because I know it's the meme, but seriously, guys.
Come on, we
couldn't actually get like an impactful stat.
We did stretch it out enough last summer.
We have some clips later. We're good to go.
Okay. Yeah. All right, but with that said, we actually got a chance to chat with some of the players about what this match means to them, and also their thoughts on their competition. So let's take a look.
This whirlwind of a split has definitely been really stressful at times.
Yeah, I didn't expect 100 to come out looking this good after what they showed in regular season. So I'm happy for Kemby, but I'm gonna have to take him down this Friday.
Cloud9 is obviously a little weird because they play really eccentric jungle picks that are scary to play against, as we don't really play against them at all.
It's having some fun as
wait, watch. Oh, one, two.
But I think as long as we treat it like a normal match, just come in knowing we may be playing against some weirder picks, then we just play as a team, we played our win conditions, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Pretty enough. His fighting is predictable, so you know, like what he's gonna do.
Even though he's predictable, I think it's gonna be hard to stop him regardless.
He's gonna look for Jimmy in.
That's a ghost. Distortion away, but they got the chains connected, and here's Kemby to save the day, taking down Copy.
It's jungle diff, you know. I do expect Kemby to game me a lot.
I would say the biggest strength of our team is just trusting each other, because we used to not really trust each other, and everybody would kind of be not on the same page. But now we just believe that if we play as a team, anybody can carry, because everyone is a really good player on our team.
Teams already know that what we're gonna do, but I don't think they'll find a clear enough answer, especially in BO5. I think we'll have more time to adapt and see how they're playing and perfect more of our style going into the series.
The C9 match is a bit of history for me. Obviously, I was a part of C9 Academy for a long time and kind of was one of the first rosters to kind of like give C9 Academy the pedestal that it was on for so long. So now that I'm on 100 Thieves, it would feel really good to kind of like take that away and show us that show the scene that 100 Thieves is, you know, superior now.
Awesome to hear from the coaches and some of the players on their thoughts against each other. I mean, Cloud9 and 100 Thieves are two of the orgs historically that have promoted talent through the amateur to the academy to the LCS stage, and now they have the opportunity to go up against each other. And a big matchup that we wanted to highlight going into this one is, of course, the junglers. A lot of history from Kenvy in North America, but Malice coming in for his first split in North America on Cloud9 side. XU, I want to give this one to you to start off, because you're a jungler yourself on Dignitas Academy. You've played against Malice before. So as we take a look at some of his highlight performances throughout the split, what's it like to play up against this guy?
I think this guy, like, he really changed what it meant to be a jungler in NA, especially for like the younger players who don't particularly have their own style yet. He kind of came in with these picks that everyone like was like, okay, these champs are kind of useless, they just farm. But then he showed that like these champs are definitely useful and that this playstyle is more consistent. So it really affected the jungle meta in Academy. I think especially for me, like I was definitely trying to mold my playstyle to be like, okay, I want to incorporate these champions as well. But playing against him is just like, there's a lot of pressure because it feels like once you make one mistake, the game is really snowballing because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't take gambles. He just plays consistently.
Yeah, and of course, he's got that wife buff too. It's just not fair,
True.
man. The first non-Korean player to play in Challengers Korea also is a really cool stat there for Malice. And like you said, he's just changed how the junglers here at the academy level view the game and have to approach the game because of his unique style. So awesome to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for sharing, XU. But of course, I believe that you and him had a tweet exchange earlier on in the year. I think that we can actually run that one too. I want to get your thoughts on this one, XU, and kind of some of the lessons that you might have learned from Malice on a specific champion. You were, of course, copying. Maybe not copying. I don't want to use that. You know, inspired by his champ pool.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, this kind of proves that like I shouldn't be afraid of him as a player, because this game on stage actually was the first time I played Hecarim all season. And I ended up like stomping pretty hard that game. So like in my head, it's like this guy spent his whole life learning the style, but I can pull it out on stage first time and still do well. So honestly, once I figure it out, like I have this style and my style, I'll just be a better player.
I like it. There we go. Now, thoughts on the Phase Rush versus Conqueror, though, because it seems like he has his own opinion on it.
It's like, I think Phase Rush is like the more like play for your team jungler, and then Conqueror is like everyone play for you because you're gonna carry. Like you have to go like everyone needs to protect your jungle. Everyone needs to like make sure you're taking all the camps. But yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, regardless, it's awesome that the two of you had that exchange, and I'm grateful that we have your insight on these junglers. But he's opposite the rift of Kenvi now. And Cubby, I'm going to give this one to you because Kenvi's a player that has a long history in North America and a lot to live up to based on expectations.
I like what XU said earlier about Kenvi not getting off to the hottest start in the spring, but man, is he really turning on at the right time for Proving Grounds. His Lee Sin has been incredible this tournament. It's 3-0, and it really feels like Hunter Thieves as a team, they have come together. They are really starting to play as a squad, and I feel like a lot of that is off the back of the solo laners playing stronger, executing their early lane states better, which enables Kenvi to go for some crazy aggressive plays early. And I know specifically against COG, I mean, this second game, he ended up flame horizoning Rosethorn in that Graves versus Voldebear matchup. Started off with a split map scenario. COG could never recover from there. And this is really, it feels like the return to the Kenvi that we saw all of last year. It's been great to see as he is really stepping up to that mantle of the superstar jungler that we know this guy is in Academy.
And important to note, peak Proving Grounds placements, 3rd place, because last summer, he was in Europe boot camping. He wasn't actually playing for Under Thieves Academy. That was Chad that was in the jungle, who he would be facing off against if they win this match. That's a really kind of cool, clash of fates right there between those two, Magical.
Oh, I'm excited for that. If it happens, they still have to beat Cloud9, and Cloud9 is going to be a titanic team to take down. Looking at both these teams on paper, that's why I expect this to go 5 games. One, because I'm biased towards 5 games and want Silver Scrapes, but also because I think they're both really good.
They are both fantastic. And the road to get here, I think 100 Thieves Academy are hitting a peak when they need to. And on that note, actually, I want to get your thoughts on the jungle matchup. We've talked about both junglers in a vacuum, isolated in their individual performances, but how do you see them clashing against each other? Kenvi's kind of more aggressive style when he's on versus Malice's farm up for late game and kind of change the rulebook of jungling.
I think if the games are like pretty standard today, I think Malice will definitely have the edge. But if Kenvi's laners perform really well and like get pushing lanes and win their matchups, then I think Kenvi punishes that really well. So if he has the resources to do so, I'm sure he will. But there's no guarantee that he will against the laners of C9.
But and what if? Wait. What if, Cubby? I'm going to interrupt you here. We have 6 jungle bans that started on off XQ. What happens then?
Could see it.
I actually don't know. I know Kenvi's pool is deeper. But I think like Malice is more comfortable on his limited pool. So even after the first 3 bans, he's still really comfortable. And yeah, I think he'll always find something that's like okay for him as long as he doesn't drop to the second round.
All right. Cubby?
Okay. Cubby, you wanted to hop in there with a point, though.
So the one thing and the one tidbit I really liked from earlier in the season when it was Kenvi talking about Malice was that, yes, Malice, he does play standard, but Kenvi sees that as predictable. And for a player that is as explosive as Kenvi, I do not think he's going to be looking for full clears. And I also just want to highlight Malice too. While we do sometimes paint Malice as, standard likes to full clear plays as champs, I think that Malice is actually really good at picking his spots to go aggressive. That's something that we even saw in C9's win over Team Liquid. That second game when he was playing Evelynn, he found the skirmish bot that got him level 6 early because they won it. He then instantly invaded and found another positive play for C9. So I think both these junglers are really good at pushing leads once they get them. I was curious to see who ends up getting the lead first.
Who gets the lead first could come down to the lanes, like XU was talking about too. We're ready for pick and ban, so I'm going to pass it over to Coming Magical. But before that, XU, real quick, who you have taken the series? I got 100 Thieves 3-2.
I think I'm going to go with my gut and say C9 3-1.
3-1 C9. All right, Magical Covey. On that note, let's get into pick and ban for game number 1.
We will see if it's going to be the 4 or 5 game series. I am hoping for the 5, mostly because, like I said, I'm biased towards 5 game series. Really am excited for this. Cloud9 Academy, 100 Thieves Academy. You have a team that made it to the finals back in spring in Cloud9, but dropped just short of actually taking the title to no org. Then you have 100 Thieves who got said title in summer. And I want to see how they approach this draft for game 1, because already my prediction of 6 jungle bans is starting to come through.
So we oftentimes talk a lot about Malice as champs because he has only played 5 champs throughout this season, and it really does feel like Malice has a tier list. He's going to pick this champ. If it's banned, then he goes for the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And for Kenvi, he has had a narrow pool for ProvingGrounds. He has only played 4 champions. Those would be the Viego, the Lee Sin, the Diana, and the Graves. And the Lee Sin, Graves, the 2 champs that himself historically has really been known for, those are going to be instantaneously taken off the table by C9. And we'll see how 100 Thieves respond, because they have an option right now about whether or not to leave up Hecarim or Karthus. And I think that's a big decision, especially when thinking of the Karthus, the pick that they have used to punish this in the past has been that Lee Sin when these 2 teams have met face-to-face. So really interested to see how this pans out, as it will be the Hecarim taken off the table. That Karthus is now up for Malice, and we'll see if that ends up being the option for him later in this draft.
We definitely will, because with that Jinx first pick for King in the bot lane, Zeri's also left open. There's a lot of powerful picks that got through because there was so much jungle attention by both teams, really trying to hit at the champion pool. But it seems that neither really want to show their hand just yet, because we were talking about that. Kenvi's got a champion pool that does well in punishing these farming junglers, such as picking things like that Lee Sin. Even the Graves, he plays aggressively. Viego, something he's been playing a lot, but the Diana, the one I'm glad you brought up, because we haven't seen that touch. And with Malice grabbing Karthus, maybe you want to grab that Diana for kind of a farming style, but then you can go aggressive at level 6.
If not, Kenvi's going to, you have to figure he's going to eat more bans. The Nidalee, also an option that can get up in the face of the Karthus, as 100 Thieves will be teasing that last jungler. I do want to highlight what we see in the bot lane so far, as the Xayah Rakan combo has been fantastic for 100 Thieves Academy. Lucio is 4-1 on the Rakan in PG alone. And if this is going to be the Kindred, what a treat this is, because not only is this, C9 versus 100, we have some history. I love how Golden Glue brought up that he was a part of C9A. Of course, 100 Thieves, they just 3-0'd C9 in the LCS playoffs, so win some, trying to seek some revenge against the Academy team there for that loss as well. But another one would be 100 Thieves Next, their amateur program. That is the program that Copy came out of. And back then, one of the first highlights that we saw from Kenvi, it was the pentakill on Kindred in Challengers Uprising. Way back in 2020, I talked about Kenvi champs. They took 3 off the board, but historically, Kindred is always something he has been able to perform on, and it's his choice into the Karthus this game.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Kobe, because the moment I saw Kindred, I had flashbacks back to 2020 for Kenvi, how he popped the hell off on this Kindred. I think it drew bans permanently after that, too. Nobody let him have that ever again for the rest of that year. And seeing him bust out here against his former teammate in Coffee, it's just so exciting to see how these 2 teams are approaching the draft. We haven't really had mid lane focus, but I think it was even touched on in the pre-show that Kenvi's probably going to spend a lot of attention in this mid lane to really look towards getting Coffee behind. And having something like a Karthus on the other side of a Kindred doesn't really provide that much assistance.
I do want to highlight some of the bans coming out. You have a Karthus. We're expecting 80 solo laners from C9, so that is the solo AP, solo magic damage Karthus. And you can see C9 taking away some of the better mid laners that Jimmian has been performing on, as Jimmian has been fantastic throughout this tournament. I think another pick he's been really good on as well is Rise. He is 3-0 in PG. It is his most played throughout the split. That will be locked in with those 2 mid laners taken off the board. Now, this has opened C9 up. One of the picks that's been really big for them this year is the Tryndamere, because Darshan and Copy can each play it. Tryndamere kind of struggles into the Rise, and I think that 100 Thieves are leaving the Tryndamere up because Gamsu's so comfortable on the Gragas, too. Yes. So I think that C9 has to switch things up, and they're out of AD solo laners. It's getting a little bit tight, so Tristana is going to be making an appearance in one of these solo lanes as that AD threat.
I'm imagining that's for Copy, because if I recall,
it hasn't been played by either this split.
Not this split, but I believe Copy did play it last year.
Could have Aurelia here as well, potentially. That's another option. Gnar, of course, would be the safe pick for Darshan on the top side, and that will be it. So it is Tristana for Copy in the mid lane.
Yeah, and now we get to see what Gomsu wants to take into Gnar. You talked about that, Gragas, something that Gomsu has been performing very well on.
I'm expecting Gragas here.
Yeah, I'm expecting that, but I still want to kind of keep our attention on this, see exactly what Gomsu is going to lock in.
Could be GP.
Mostly because I was about to say, there's still that pocket GP, something that can be a little harsher into Gnar, something that can try to see if it can bring that pressure against Darshan.
And not only that, but also just the zone control that you now have against a Jinx composition. As for C9, it's that solo magic damage Karthus with the double marksman Tahm Kench, a lot of safety. I also think it's important to note, both Gnar and Tristana have ways to play around Lamb's Respite. If you utilize that Mega Gnar ult or the Buster Shot from Tristana, you can push people off the Lamb's Respite and try and net kills. So I do like that for C9 going up against the Kindred. But for 100 Thieves, this is what we've been seeing them draft and have success on. Pushing lanes, a jungler that can invade, get Kenvi that early lead and run from there. It's going to be one where 100 Thieves should have push in that bot side, and solo lanes will get pushed over time if they play out okay. I'm just curious to see what the first move Kenvi makes is, because he is so good when he is invading, so good when he has the support of his laners, getting up in the face of the enemy jungler, picking the right spots at the right time. And it feels like Kenvi has the power to do that this game with the draft at 100 Thieves Academy and taking 20.
Then we got to talk about Malice playing Karthus, that tier list that you were talking about before, Cubby. This is one of those champions that he puts pretty high on his list that he likes to be able to play.
Oh, yeah.
You got to bet he knows how to play into matchups such as playing up against Kindred. And I'm looking to see how he's going to pilot this, where he's going to look for the first plays, the early plays, to kind of deny and shut down Kenvi right out of the get-go.
I mean, a lot of that, and for C9, I think that, you know, these quiet early games, these first 5 minutes, it is something where, you know, it is a team effort to make sure that your jungler can full clear safely. It's something that C9's been very good at. I think a lot of credit is due to their solo laners, how they play out their lane states, how they are able to execute that around their enemies. I think it really opens up Malice for what he wants to do for a lot of these games. So I want to see if C9 can execute that against 100 Thieves. The big difference for this team has been Gomsu and Jimian have been stepping up through the plate when it matters. And I want to see if that continues for 100 Thieves Academy. It's the reason they find themselves in this lower bracket, the reason that they took down the #1 seed in the tournament, and they have a chance to do it again against C9.
And here it is. It is the start of our best of 5. One team will face off against Immortals Academy and get into the top 4. The other will fall just short. They've all loaded up onto the Rift, going for the typical line of scrimmage, nothing too fanciful for both teams, really just wanting to see how they can set up and if they can at least deny any early plays.
I do want to bring up on the side of 100 Thieves Academy, it is going to be an exhaust for Jimian's Rise, so protecting against that all-in threat the Copy has with the Tristana, especially in the early levels. And then also for the bot lane 100 Thieves, it's a Airy or Busio. That's usually we see Guardian or a Glacial Augment on the Rakan, so that tells me a little bit more laning power for the bot lane 100 Thieves Academy, who again have been really good this split. And I think diving into this game, one of the reasons that we're really focusing on the junglers, one of the reasons that we're excited to see these two players go toe-to-toe, not only with how talented they are and the different styles that are clashing, but also it's getting similar results. These two teams meeting in the lower bracket, they have the 2 best early games so far in ProvingGrounds. C9's average gold diff of 15, 3,722. That's first 100 Thieves Academy, up 3,272 gold on average of 15 as well. That's second in the tournament. So really got to focus on the early games and see which one of these teams can get that early lead. It's been important to both of their success in this tournament.
Especially for Cloud9, making sure they're not falling behind, because they want that comp for the first 5 minutes. They want to at least get some items built up, even if it's just components, farm out the ways the best they can. 100 Thieves, you talked about that lane pressure they get from the spot lane, especially with how they built. But it seems that it's getting forfeited to Cloud9. Winsome stepping up pretty aggressively with this Tahm Kench to try to deny that pressure and level 2 spike.
And for each of these junglers as well, it is going to be full clears mirrored. So we did have Kenvi start on the blue buff, as well as Malice, respectively. And that's good for Malice. That's, you know, we should see Kenvi. We'll see if he goes to his top side, or if he decides to walk in the bot side. Kenvi will skip out on this top side. He's going to walk bot, try and get in the face of Malice, but he doesn't have push mid. And that bot lane, the TK Jinx doing a good job of getting an early show up too, so Kenby actually just going to take that ward and retreat into his jungle. So really good from C9 early.
Poppy's playing this lane really well. He's utilizing that pressure that he has. But even if you kind of look at how Tristana tends to play, you have innate wave clear, you have innate push, but that's usually a little later when you have more range. Ryze isn't the longest range either. So the Tristana actually doesn't have that bad of a matchup going into Jimmy, and you can see how Jimmy has to play so far back. He has to be careful because Poppy could just jump in at any time.
And overall, I mean, this is the perfect start for C9. You have Malice on the Karthus. This is a window where, as Kindred, you can threaten the invade. Because of how C9 set up the map, because of the fact that King and Winston, keep in mind, a new bot lane for Academy. Because they were able to get shoved, this is Malice getting a first clear that is free for himself. And we'll see if Kenby can make a move on the second.
It's unfortunate for Kenby. The mark was on the bottom scuttle crab. Didn't get the coin flip for that first stack. So instead, just kind of power farm, clear up the best he can.
He is behind a camp at the moment, but again, I think the important thing is the fact that C9's bot lane able to utilize those AoE Jinx rockets to prevent that cross map from Kenby, because he was looking to invade that Karthus on the first clear, but just wasn't able to find it. So now Kenby is going to clear out his Krugs. Most likely will have to reset. We'll have to look to see if he can get in the face of the Karthus again from there. As Malice, he did step over a ward.
And here's Kenby nearby, but either starting up just yet. He saw it die, so Malice should know. Throwing out some Skittles. There's going to be the wall torment with a little bit of damage back on Ken.
Oh, he hit all
three. To see if he can get Malice. Wow, he's got the stack. Flash over the wall. The flash comes in from Kenby. First blood. Now dodging away from the goatee. Is able to get out of there. Scott free. Copy is getting shoved in. Cannot answer.
And props to Malice. He landed the first 3 Skittles onto Kenby, but the movement at the end, the aggression from the jungler of 100 Thieves Academy, that's what helps them come out on top. And they're going to be taking the kill.
And they got that stack for Kenby early on the bot lane. Bit of action happens between the two sides. Pixie Busio, though, they are now getting that level advantage back against King and Winston. But let's take a look at that, because this is nuts from both junglers. It just happens to be that Kenby got just enough damage to win it out.
I mean, also props to Gamsu, was at least able to navigate his way out of this one and contribute. Really like the forward dodge from Kenby, and then go back and hop over the wall. Just one of the moments where Kenby, I mean, thinking of that last series that we saw from Hitman Magical, his ability to make plays on the Lee Sin, on the Graves, this mechanical freak that we have in Academy, already seeing it early against Malice, as that is the first move that Kenby makes. We'll be taking down the Karthus as Malice. He's going to return to clearing, and Kenby, he takes away his bot side and will actually hop on this dragon.
Yeah, there's not much that Malice can do at the moment. He lost that early kill to Kenby. That's an early stack for Kindred. Now an early dragon for the side of 100 Thieves. They're getting some good advantages, slowing down the game pace for Cloud9, making it a little bit more difficult. We talked about that 5 minutes, but we're past that. They still haven't really gotten those components they kind of need to make sure they can contain pressure coming in from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and also, I mean, this is something where it's having some consequences across the map, too. The fact that Kenby found that kill on Malice on the top side. Look at how the top lane CS is going. If you got a pause.
Love that little interaction between King and Winston to make sure they got a lot of damage on Wixie. They aren't able to get that much more, though. The kill is not there, but getting 2 sums, you'll take it.
They're really nice from the side of C9. They have a base. 100 Thieves, a bot lane does not, so they're going to use that to press their item advantage, as Kenby.
Yeah, but look how low they are. Nice Naka comes in from the side of Busio. They got the kill and a win some, and Malice will be the second. King, the third to fall. A kill apiece in the bot lane for 100 Thieves.
And that's not a play that you can go for if you're C9. Yes, you just got sums out. Yes, you have a slight item advantage in the bot lane, but 100 Thieves, they're the ones that have the globals. It is the ultimate from the GP in the top lane, the Realm Warp from Jimmy, and that makes this pretty much a 4.5v3 in favor of 100 Thieves Academy, and it starts with Busio. I love the fact this is a team call. He sees the 2, the flash grand entrance, knows that even though the bot lane doesn't have sums, they can make this play because they have numbers. They send the members, they make it happen, and a big lead emerges for 100 Thieves Academy early.
Hey, this is what we were expecting to see from them. Play aggressively early despite having things that do like to scale, such as Gangplank, Kindred, Rise. They all like to get a couple items in their belt, but they also are decent when it comes to the lane phase. Now that we're past level 6, especially for a lot of these champions, we're getting to points where they really can exert that pressure over their opponents.
And I think that, I mean, this is the plan when you have a Rise mid, right? It's, you know, get shove, impact sides, and I love Jimian and Gamsu contributing with the ultimate, just able to make sure that they had the numbers, they had the power to take that fight. And that's not a play that Malice and C9 can take. And that is one criticism that, you know, if we're going to be critical of Malice's play throughout this split, I think that there are times where Malice gets behind, tries to force a similar path that he would usually take when he is even or ahead, and it gets punished by enemy teams. I think it's a great example there, 100 Thieves, recognizing that, going to the crowd, taking down Malice, as we're going to get another look at Kenvi sneaking into the spot side.
They don't know. There's a ward placed down.
He's
Booster
in.
got at least one hit, but look at how far back King
They're
is
feeling
playing.
it.
This is actually very wise from Cloud9. They understand that there's a possibility. With no control over the rivers, they don't know where Kenvi is, so you might as well play passively rather than just give up more kills.
I think it's a really good Spidey sense from C9, and honestly, the right timer from 100 Thieves, because they had 6 on that wave, and C9 did not, so I do respect Kenvi, you know, looking for that play. It's a great timer, but C9, wiser to it, they back off, they give away that window, and buy some more time for Malice, again, to keep on farming up these camps. Something very important to the Karthus, of course, because you didn't mention the scaling earlier, Mad Magical, and I still like the scaling on C9's side. I mean, they're the ones that have the double marksman with Tom Kench. They have the Karthus. The solo magic damage threat. We know how much damage a Karthus can do. I think 100 Thieves have a few waves to combat that, but in the raw 5v5, I like their comp as the game goes. They Envy.
Envy takes a lot of damage, but so does Darshan. The flash in, about to go Mega. He gets out just barely. The rocket does not connect onto Kenvi, so both top side and jungle will survive for each team, but now the Darshan's got Mega, who's able to jump over the wall and look for Gamsu. With Kenvi on the other side.
Weird.
Wall of Torment. There's Skittles, and
No
there's
Lance
Malice with a nice shutdown. No Lance for fight as you were talking about, but that's going to be the cannon barrage. There's up away coming in from Darshan, trying to get that distance from Gamsu. But Gamsu's on the hunt. He's got the barrels, and the team has got the backup to make sure nobody can enter in this fight, this duel between top laners. Even if Gamsu was worried about Winsome for a second, Darshan's really the one in trouble, but there's a Requiem only tickling the members of 100 Thieves. But what is going on top lane? And yeah, there's an execute. We already got one kill, and there's going to be another one. Or is it? Because Jimian is cutting this back against Winsome, getting more damage, and barely does he hold on.
We'll see what 100 Thieves can get on the back half of that play as it went long. Wixie has been able to pick up a plate, but overall for C9, the fact that they took down Kenvi before he got his ultimate off was huge. And that's what enabled them to win that fight, man, Magic.
Oh, it's not over though, Cubby. They showed back up to get the scuttle and get another mark for Kenvi.
And Malice greeting. I did tease, you know, what can 100 Thieves get off the back half of that? That play went so long that Kenvi was able to get out of base with items, mind you. Finds Malice, who just burned his ult, burns his flash, and now Malice, he's burning in the gray screen as he goes down. 100 Thieves continue to try and push this game forward. It's still a 2K gold lead for them, Mad Magical, and I think they already have their sights set on this next dragon.
But this is why I talked about scaling on the side of 100 Thieves. 4 stacks now for Kendrick. A big power spike for Kindred. And so that's why I'm like, I just look at this and I'm thinking, what can Cloud9 do to overcome this Kindred especially? Getting that one kill is nice, but now you got to continue it somehow.
I think that some of the options for C9, one of the things that Karthus always brings to the table is that it makes your side laner so powerful in the later stages. The fact that, you know, if you are side laning as Copy on the Tristana or Darshan on the Gnar, you have a Requiem in your back pocket to help really change the landscape of 1v1. That is a big difference. Something that 100 Thieves will have trouble combating. So C9, I think something they've done really well this split is playing out 3 lanes. I credit CLG for being our, you know, 3-lane teams that really fit their identity, but I think the C9 has a good idea of how to play around sides, good idea of how to make sure their solo laners are ahead and consistent, and it's going to be a big test to see if Darshan and Copy can really help C9 out of this one, because I feel like later they have a threat to take down 100 Thieves in the side lane in, you know, those skirmishes, but at the moment, you think of the power of Xayah early at 2 items, you see how accelerated the Kindred is. I think that C9 are going to have trouble making an impact on this map for the next couple minutes. And it's one where I think they're already looking at ways to come back when it goes late.
Well, and I think you're right on the money, talking about how Copy and Darshan are going to be the tools utilized by Cloud9 if they want to come back in this game. Especially between Copy and Kenvi, former teammates from 100 Thieves next, having the fact that your Kindred is far ahead and even has completed Kraken Slayer compared to your other marksman that doesn't.
Even look at that moment, right? Malice was trying to go for that play top. once Rift Herald's taken and they see Jimmy and hovering on the top side, they back off.
Yeah,
They know that
they
they
have to.
can't take it. They have to respect the power of the Rise.
Exactly, and now we see that even though Copy does got that Kraken player completed now with the PP back in the lane, Denby's got all the time in the world to continue to rotate around this map, rein in this Karthus, never allowed it to get off the ground.
And he's sprinting bot. Jimmy is on his own. This will be a Herald drop. We'll see if Jimmy
Jimmy's trying to
just
bait
make
it,
it out
he's
of
on
this.
a ward. A little bit of a skirmish between the two, but with a nice rune prison from Jimmy, is able to kite that back since he's got that phase rush. He can get out. First brick will go over to 100 Thieves Academy.
Good play, solid early game coming out of 100 Thieves. Again, did highlight both these teams have the 2 highest goal differentials at 15. This is something that C9, it's a tough stat to navigate from regular season because they did have the sub squad playing for the first 3 weeks. But I know for 100 Thieves, they averaged in the regular season being down 254 gold. That was actually 7th. They were the 7th place team in the academy split. This has been a major improvement for them as Poppy's going down.
Kenvi.
Oh no.
Wow. I don't know what else to say there, Cubby. You just annihilated him.
I guess it's just the soul lane discipline we were talking about. I mean, they just saw the play go bot. Maybe Copy thought that Ken V base, but not the case. He sprints mid, takes down his old teammate, prevents him from taking any more plates from that mid lane tower. Now Jimmy will pick up a couple for himself. Oh, plates are going to expire. Never mind. Going to go to the wayside.
Hey,
Unfortunate, though.
Yeah, I don't care if I'm 100 Thieves at that point. Getting another kill for Kenvi.
Oh, hell yeah. We're taking that every day.
Right, and I'm looking at this now and looking at what can happen for the side of 100 Thieves to continue this momentum. And really, it is the Kenvi show. He is here to decimate his former teammates, to decimate Cloud9 as a whole, and he has been doing so. This has been one of the best performances we've seen out of him from his entire career, and we've seen some hell of a performance out of his entire career.
It's been a pleasure really watching him, somewhat return to form. I know that one of the things that 100 Thieves did change going into this tournament, Heel was actually a sub for 100 Thieves next. He moved up to a sub for 100 Thieves Academy, and I know that he's been present in some of their scrims, making sure maybe another voice to kind of brainstorm some jungle strategies, some jungle synergy, but it's really been all about Kendi and his hands, his mechanics, and his ability to utilize those not only so well in the fights, but also pick the right fights, fight at the right time. Something that Kenvi does so well, I think, is really slept on for him as well.
Copy. Nice
buffer.
buffer there. And now with Malice on the other side, they've got a lot of damage on Abushio trying to use that Realm Ward, but there's no escape. If you got Requiem available, there it is. But it might be canceled. No, Kenvi couldn't stop it. So a kill on Abushio, a kill for Malice. They can continue to hunt, keep pushing out 100 Thieves. The slow comes in for the Wall of Torment. Here's going to be the Abyssal dive to get the slow flash away from Kenvi to survive. Look at Wixie on the other side, but Jimmy is too low to really help out. Just kite out on his own.
You get the flash of Kenvi on the back half, but great punish from C9 and a good hover from Winsome. Credit where credit's due. That was really good recognition from the support of C9. The fact that, he is able to come in, hop in these games, make an impact. Something that I know from talking with Copy beforehand, he said the in-house in their year
No
helped.
flash.
Hold on.
Kenvi, okay, nice
spike.
dodge away, but Bucio. Man, he tried to defend his jungler, keep him alive, that bounty that he has on his head, but he traded a lot of damage. And guess who has control around the Dragon Pit? Well, we got to take a look at the replay that you were talking about. Heads-up play from Cloud9 Academy.
Just a really nice buffer from Copy, and then the fact that Malice recognized this, flashed in, Winsome's there to hover, got to go back to live his Dragon.
Copy! That was a huge buster shot. Malice should fall here, but now he's in his ghost form, getting a little bit of damage. He'll trade that. You got the Dragon.
C9, they're going to lose mid off this, though, Mad Magical. And Kenvi, oh, he's getting frisky for more. This would be very risky.
Yeah, I don't know if I like
he wants
this idea.
Bucio to scout for him.
Exactly. He's like, hey, I don't know where they all are.
Yeah.
Better to have you go out ahead of me. But let's rewind a bit, Cubby. Let's look back at that play. Because honestly, sure, mid lane going down is a bad start for the side of Cloud9, but they deny that soul point potential out of 100 Thieves Academy. So we look at this replay. This cluster shot is really what I want to focus on the top.
It does buy them 5 minutes, and it was a nice buster shot because it hit 3, but still,
exactly.
You do have Malice going down as a sacrificial lamb, right? So
yeah,
it is still something where I can respect C9 for trying to go for that drag, but again, feel like it's a bit of an overreach. And it did cause the gold lead to grow. Now 3.5K in favor of 100 Thieves Academy.
But don't you want that to delay 5 minutes for Cloud9? They got the scaling.
They do. My big concern, though, for C9 is that when this Baron spawns, if they're too far behind, 100 Thieves do have a comp that they can push it pretty quickly. I mean, they not only have, but they can utilize the Baron to set up 3 lanes and then have Ryze try and affect the sides. You still have Gamsu, and if C9 overextend any point around the Baron, you give Kenvi any time. It's a Kraken Slayer Kindred that's ahead on stacks. That's going to be really difficult to deal with. And yeah, Xayah doesn't take Baron super fast, but this Kraken Slayer Kindred will. And I think that's something that C9 will have to be really concerned about in the next 2 minutes once this Baron comes onto the map.
Kindred and Ryze are underappreciated when it comes to their Baron and neutral takes. They do a lot more damage than people realize. Even if we're expecting it to be the tankier build out of Jimmy or Ryze, especially going up against so many melee targets on the side of Cloud9, except for Malice. But it's still going to pump out enough damage to back up someone like Kenvi around those neutrals. You can see how Cloud9 are trying to set up so that can't happen. Even if it's shy of that 20-minute mark at the moment, they at least want to be preemptive on this to find out Kenvi, get a kill onto him, so they can then turn for this. But now, he doesn't have that flash, but he has the dash, got a lot of damage.
Fight.
I'm surprised they actually want to fight this one. I think they just want to keep Kenvi alive, that's all.
Kenvi's going to live. We'll see if Malice throws out the ult. If not, it will be counter-ulted by Kenvi. But still, at least at C9, you know, finding something.
Yeah, and right there, the cancel dive on the Viscel dive quickly at least denies them going down in the fight. But like you said, it's good starts for Cloud9, finding incremental things. They're still down 3,500 gold to 100 Thieves Academy, but now they've got this inside track around Rift Herald to try to get more gold into their pockets.
Yeah, and this is a nice play from C9. Just the fact they are trying to find the chunks. That is one way to, again, they forced 100 Thieves. Their jungle supports a reset. They pick up a neutral objective on the map, and importantly, buy themselves some more time. But this time, don't sacrifice a further goal deficit to do so. So I feel like that's really nice, really well done by the side of C9. We'll see if they can continue to try and find ways to keep on buying themselves a little bit of space on this map, Mad Magical, because I think it's still a really dire, really difficult position for them at this point. Maybe once you get 2-3 items on the side of C9, I think that might be the break point where things start to get better. But until then, as long as it's a 3.5, 4K gold deficit, as long as 100 Thieves are hitting the big spikes on some of their champions, like Ryze 2 items, Xayah with that evolved Miramana coming in pretty soon, it's going to be tough for C9.
That's what worries me as well, Cubby. I'm looking at this for Cloud9, and I'm just wondering, what can they do at this moment besides just delay the game? And really, you have to delay the game in a composition that's already getting ahead. They have a Kindred with the second item, Wit's End completed, just to deny that damage coming in from Malice. You got great leads on champions that scale. Plus, I mentioned stacks before. It's 6 stacks now.
I like some of these adaptations coming out of 100 Thieves. As you know, we did talk about how this is a solo magic damage composition. Look at the plated steel caps across the board for all 3 solo laners. They don't have to deal with pretty much as long as you're dodging on Gnar. I don't think Merc Treads are valuable. That and the Chompers from Jinx is about the only thing that Tenacity is going to give you value for. So I actually like this from the side of 100 Thieves, the fact that they're trying to pick up some early armor. If they take Karthus off or out of the fight immediately, or just use Lamb's Respite to tank up that ultimate, it can really help them in the long run.
But it's so crazy to me to watch this, Cubby. 100 Thieves Academy, a team that had one of the worst second round robins of every team in Academy. And here they are, battling up against our second-seeded Academy team in Cloud9, and really putting them behind, getting this advantage, while giving up the permaban Karthus to Malice, so they can now get themselves advantages around these dragons.
All about how you play into Malice. You know what he's going to throw at you. It's just, can you beat it? As Malice, that's a big steal.
That's a huge steal. It looks like they're going to get away with highway robbery against the Thieves themselves. 2 dragons apiece now for each side.
Big play from Malice. That prevents Soul Point. That's the second dragon, but now 100 Thieves, they answer. They Realm Warp to this Baron. This was the counterpunch. It will be the ult, which spots this by C9, but does this go down in time?
They're getting a lot of damage. They're taking it quickly. Here's Darshawn and Coffee on the other side. They're going to get into the pit, but that's going to be the quickness, getting at least a little bit of a charm with the Featherstorm as well. Smite, who gets Gnar into the wall, but not enough to be able to take it. But they could win this fight with the Lantern fight on the other side. Jimmy barely is alive. He has to get down and dirty in the fight to die, while the rest of 100 Thieves will survive.
And I think 100 Thieves will take that. The fact they walk away with the Baron, yes, it's the second drag. C9 still going to pick up this mid-outer turret in the back half too, but I love the call, the decisiveness from 100 Thieves. It was a good setup around the Dragon. Do they get it? No, but do they get the Baron? Yes. Good use of the Realm Warp, the rotations, utilizing the globals that they have as 100 Thieves. This is an aggressive call from a young team, but they made it work, man.
They did, but it also got dicey there for a bit of time. Oh, yeah. I really want to look at Darshan and this Gnar ult that I honestly thought was going to allow Cloud9 to steal it away.
I think it was a big exhaust coming out of Busio, and I love Kenvei. I know it's a small thing, but casting that Lamb's Respite after he gets over the wall instead of before, really well done. They were at least able to get 4 members out. I think that's big for the side of 100 Thieves. But while that replay was going on, important note, C9, they did pick up 2 objective bounties in the mid, outer, and top outer turrets. Yep. That gold deficit is back down to around 4K, about where it was before this set of plays. So I think this Baron play, we have to see how much 100 Thieves can get out of this, because if not, you think of the last 2 Dragon Steals, man. It's really bought time for C9 to get back in this game and get to that 3-item plus mark we were talking about for this team.
Exactly what I was gonna bring up, Covey, because once we get out of the gold, you can see these items now built up by Cloud9. Sure, they still will lose some objectives such as tier 2 and mid, but they're getting those second items, 2 Phantom Dance piece on their marksman, also getting that Shadow Flame completed for Malice. They're getting to those points that we were talking about before, where they are very dangerous now.
And they're trading up, and so far, they have only lost one out, or the second one will fall, but the fact that Copy's picking up an objective bounty, getting something on the other side of the map, I think this is really nice, really well done by C9 as they continue to just elongate this game.
Well, keep in mind, one thing we really didn't talk about is the power of a Tristana and taking these turrets. Look at how fast it's going down. He actually will take it, sacrificing his life for the bounty gold over the wall. No way, Copy. No way do you get out of this alive. There we go. I was about to say, if you got out, I'd be very surprised.
Kenby's now at 6 marks, but hey, again, Copy.
He's been at 6 marks for a while now.
Honestly, Copy going down there, I really don't think that's a bad death. You get an objective bounty for your team. Yep. There's no objectives up on the map. It's really not the worst thing in the world for C9, as 100 Thieves is going to try and get on their side of the map, try and get some control, some pressure back, but there's nothing for them to take at the moment, and it's just C9 stalling out this Baron.
That's why we've looked at Copy as this player who's really grown in this organization. See, there's decisive shot calling moments where he's like, hey, you know what? I might die, but bounty gold is important for the team. We're far behind. We need this, and if I die, who cares? What do we lose after that? No turrets are going to be taken. No objective is up. The only thing they might lose is the Baron push for that tier 2 buff.
I mean, they took down the 3 inner turrets, but when you think about the Baron and what 100 Thieves comp wants to do right now, C9's fine with that. They don't lose any inhibitor turrets, and that's why we think it's an okay death from Copy. The fact that he goes down there, really not that big of a deal, is win some. We are panning over him. 100 Thieves did reset. There will not be any plays in the mid lane. We are 1 minute out from this upcoming Dragon. I think it's important to note, this is where 100 Thieves, I don't think their composition gets any stronger than this. You look at the items that the Ryze has, you look at the items that the Xayah has, these are the big spikes where you want to utilize these champions to the fullest. I think it's really important that Malice took away that last Dragon, given the strength of 100 Thieves' composition now. But also, I'm now even curious, do C9 even fight for this next Dragon?
I don't think
do you even give them the option to fight when they are at their strongest? I think C9 are a smart enough team to recognize that. And you can see them trying to take control over the top side of the map instead of fighting over this Dragon pit.
That's what I'd expect them to do. Maybe delay the Dragon take just a bit from 100 Thieves, but no need to fight. Because as you're talking about, this is a power point for 100 Thieves. This is where they're going to feel very strong, especially when you look at how they have essentially components, a bit of a lead, just half an item above that of Cloud9 just because of the gold lead that they had. But that's fine, because you're getting these items completed. Or Dominic's in the inventory for Copy. You're getting close to matching what's on the other side of 100 Thieves.
I like the fact you bring up the LDR. I think that's the big one for both of these marksmen. When you look at the plated still caps across the board, how tanky the tank rises. Here goes Busio.
Ooh, that could be a big pick. No, gonna be saved at the moment from Winsome. But here comes the Realm Warp trying to back up members. But they've got damage. They've got numbers. Winsome. Here's the Feather Storm that takes down Tom Kench, and he is out of the equation. With Malice and King now running for the hill,
Oh,
but
King's
where's your
dead.
base? It's the opposite way. You got no way out. King's in the pit, and it's the kill. King the flash away, but keep in mind who's on the other side. Gangplank is nearby.
He
Gonna
ported.
be able to take that nice little hex get away.
Look at the
Keep
dragon.
in mind, right, I was just about to say that, Guppy. Guppy has been on it this entire time, so even if Malice dies, again, these are incremental wins for the side of a Cloud9.
How are C9 at Soul Point? I mean, this game's crazy. Yes, 100 Thieves do get kills. Yes, they do get some more gold in their pockets, but you got to think at this point, 100 Thieves, they have to make sure this game ends in the next 5, 6, 7 minutes, or else C9's comp is going to get much, much stronger, and they haven't done that. They ignored the objective. They've now given Soul Point this backdoor win con away to C9, and despite the deficit, the way that C9 are playing around this and around the aggression from 100 Thieves, it's actually been pretty good for them.
Right. And we got to take a look at this replay, and at first it looks dire for Cloud9. I was really worried for them, but how long they delayed this fight, and then Coffee out of nowhere just backdoors the dragon.
I think this is one where, you know, an experienced team, you take win some, you just take the dragon. But that's not the case. They see King on the other side of the map, but King has flash, and this is really clever from King. If he doesn't have the Hextech portals there, King dies. The fact that it's a Hextech soul, he gets out of this, and overall, yes, C9, they are the ones dropping members, but you gotta believe, given, you know, the landscape for this game, the comps, the strength that each of these teams have, I still think that's a win for Cloud9.
It's like, what is it, in Shrek, Lord Farquaad? Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take. That's how Cloud9 are approaching this game at the moment. They are pretty much living up to the motto of Lord Farquaad, where it's like, sure, you died, but we got Soul Point now. It's a Hex Dragon Soul as well. Such a powerful one to have for any team, especially one with 2 marksmen.
Yeah, I guess you could say they drafted Dragon number 3, my lord.
Goddamn. All right, you know, fair. And yep, they're at that right now. But at the moment, 100 Thieves Academy still have that gold lead. They are pretty powerful. Looking across the board and seeing where those items are, it is some that are being built up by Cloud9. They still need to get that death cap.
I like this from 100 Thieves. You got to push the pace of the game, and that early Requiem, I like it. Again, Baron, magic damage debuff, so the fact that Malice casts that early just to force them off, yes, it's a cooldown burn, but that is one way to use that Requiem very effectively, as 100 Thieves will now return to the mid wave. We'll see if they return to the Baron after they clear this.
Seems like it, but they're spotted out by that blue trinket coming in from Comp, so they can't just pull in and send it. Try to see if they can take down the purple form, but with Comsu nearby, they might now have that advantage, the man advantage, to be able to take this objective right under the nose of Cloud9.
Again, Kenvi with that Kraken Slayer and this on-hit build after, he does this very, very quickly. But it is spotted by C9. This is at half.
That half, no,
Darshan's
now it's at
got
a quarter.
mega.
It's low. Darshan's waiting it out so that he can go big and explosive, but they got the kill, so no smite advantage. Gonna be taken in out. Kenvi's aggressive. He's got a kill on top. He is unstoppable. His former teammate is gone, so they can realm warp into the bot lane to look for the game.
I love how quick 100 Thieves play this out too. The warps from Jimmy and just helping them cheat the map. That's going to grant them an inhibitor turret. C9 were trying to clear out the mid wave. They can't get there in time. That's the top lane inhibitor gone.
And they could push for more. They do have Baron with a cannon with as well. Their creep's still there. And look at where King is.
Oh,
He's
that's
now
one way to get
backing.
creeps.
That's going to be the TP. The kill immediately onto Darshan. 100 Thieves Academy from struggling in the second half of the round robin to now being a game up of Cloud9 Academy. What a historic run here in the Proving Grounds started off.
And these guys haven't dropped a game since they fell to the lower bracket, Mad Magical. I mean, they took down the #1 Academy team. They're now facing the #2 Academy seed. And at what point, I mean, at what point do we start looking at 100 Thieves as a team that could be tournament favorites? I mean, it really feels like this team has turned things around. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We have a full best of 5 ahead of us. But I think that this first game, what we learned from it is the fact that, yes, C9, that is a comp that we totally expect to see them play. You have 80 solo laners with Karthus. We've seen them have success on this, even against 100 Thieves. Thinking of that Malice Karthus clip where he pressed R and got 2 kills. But I think it really speaks to the improvement, the growth of 100 Thieves, the fact that they've gone back to the drawing board. They have these drafts. The Zaya Rakan has been so good for Wixie and Busio. Keep in mind, these two are rookies. It is their first split in Academy. They're taking it to King and Winsome in LCS support and the most winning player in Oceanic history. I mean, they are really playing well on the bot side, and then you incorporate Kenvi on his champs, Gamsu and Jimian on comfort, and it feels like this has just been a winning formula for 100 Thieves Academy. We've yet to see a team break it. We're going to have to see if C9 can do so in this best of 5.
Right, all 6 bans towards jungle in the first round. That Kindred pick
used to
really
that.
did. I mean, we're gonna have to get used to it, but I expect Kindred not gonna be let through. But then again, that means you have to let Lee Sin, Graves, or Viego through the ban. So it's
Definitely
gonna
do
be,
not let through Lee Sin. That is
Yeah.
the number 1 rule. That
I-
Kenvi cannot have that champion. As long as they ban out Udyr, you got to ban Lee Sin.
Yeah, I was about to say, but then you have to worry about the Kindred. I don't know. It's gonna be difficult for Cloud9. Respect over to 100 Thieves for that win. They take game 1 in this best of 5. We're gonna get ready for a break, and when we come back, we'll have our in between game series show because it's not halftime anymore. What would you call it, Cubby?
5th time?
5th?
I mean, technically it's 4 halves potentially, so it could be quarter time show.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't. I don't know. We'll
not
have to
right.
come up with a better name for it. We'll ask
workshop it.
Kangas when we get there. But yeah, we're gonna toss it a break. When we come back, we'll have our host Kangas and also our guest XU with us. Make sure you stay tuned.